So I gotta admit something. This year, 2022, has been one of my worst financial decisions making years of all time, okay? And I used to be very cold and calculated when it came to my investments, and I said, if something doesn't add up to 1 + 1, I'm just not gonna make the decision no matter how I feel. I tried to remove the emotions from decisions and finances and money overall, but the truth is that if you try to neglect the idea that there are emotions in investments and neglect the idea that when something does happen, you will feel some emotion, that's just plain vanilla stupid, okay? And what I mean is this, okay? You can have a perfect plan, but you know for a fact that if the market goes down tomorrow by 50%, no matter your plan, you will have some type of emotion. And the idea is you want to make a plan that predicts that emotion and adjusts based on that emotion. So for example, Tommy, what the heck are you talking about here? Too many feelings, let's just get to the video. But overall, what I mean is this: your plan has to take into account the way you will react when certain things happen in the market and how you want to be financially positioned. So a lot of these ideas and a lot of the things that I basically did financially, they make absolutely no sense. But on a basic level of just being happy and having a good foundation to take on more risk per se, it just becomes a lot more logical the more you look at it, okay? And by the way, the best investor of all time, Warren Buffett, this guy sometimes buys newspaper companies, although they're basically dead, and he says, I buy them because I can still take something out, but they're not like great investments, but I just like buying them. So now that I justified myself by comparing myself to Warren Buffett, which I have no business doing, let's get straight into the video and tell you some of my best and my worst investments of 2022. Now, by the way, to be honest with you, I have 3 terrible investments and I have 1 good investment overall, okay? So number 1 is going to be, this year, I went ahead and I bought a home. I bought a house and I put in this home about $180,000. Now, when I say $180,000, I don't mean I got a mortgage like a normal person would that's actually intelligent and has brain cells in them. I actually went ahead and I paid $180,000 in cash. You might say, Tommy, why would you say what you just said? Like, isn't it a good idea to pay for a home in cash? Well, financially, no. And here's why, right? Because if I can borrow $180,000 at a very low interest rate and pay it off over 30 years, I mean, my mortgage would have been like around $850 per month. That's it, okay? And if I had grabbed that $180,000 and I would have invested it, I got the math right here because I am ready to make fun of myself, okay? That $180,000 over 30 years at 12% would have grown into over $5 million, okay? So, and the total loan would have cost me somewhere near like $280,000. So overall, I'm paying an extra $100,000 and I would have made like 5 million plus. Now you might ask me, Tommy, if you know this and you knew this going into the deal, why the heck would you go ahead and buy a home and pay cash for it? Well, again, this is not really a financial decision based on numerical numbers. Now, what I know about myself is this: naturally, in order to become where I am today or be who I am today or get to this spot, I had to take on some risks in a sense, but my natural character is being very risk averse. So for me personally, having to not worry about a mortgage, knowing that my cost of living is severely down, and knowing that I have a lot more disposable income that's not attached to a property makes a lot of sense. And on top of that, for personal reasons, for example, it's just something I always wanted. When the first book I read, not really the first, but one of the first that actually affected me in a sense, was The Richest Man in Babylon. And one thing was, in that book, it always said, owning your own home is going to make such a big difference. Raising a family in your own home, where your wife can have a garden and your kids can basically play, and no one has any right to that home. To me, it just makes a lot of sense. And to me, having that allows me and enables me to make bigger and better investments in a very risk-averse way, because that's the way I am. But naturally, for the average person, getting a 30-year mortgage at basically inflationary rates and basically borrowing free money makes a lot of sense. But for me, having a monthly payment and not knowing that, hey, if something does really go like very wrong, I have to worry about this, I don't want to worry about that. I'd rather just have it paid off. So although I'm missing out on over $5 million in 30 years, which by the way, who knows what's going to happen in 30 years from now, right? But although I'm missing out on that, I'm also being enabled to be able to invest more money to potentially have a lot more than that just by having that thing paid off and being able to withstand a lot more recessions, depressions, and market cycles just because I have this solid foundation. Now, my second worst investment was decided in 2022 that I want to be debt free. That's kind of crazy for me because, again, I used to be very cold and calculative when it came to my money overall, okay? And the idea was very simple. If I can borrow money for free basically at inflationary rates, why wouldn't I just go ahead and invest the difference, okay? Now, I owed about $51,000. And for full transparency, I just basically paid like $31,000 off of like a loan, and I only have left $21,000, and that's also gonna be paid off. But I'm telling you this just to be fully transparent. But by the end of like 2 weeks from now, that's fully gonna be paid off, and that's why I'm telling you, choosing to be debt free. Now, here's the idea. If I had just kept that $51,000 and not basically paid off that stuff, again, 30 years, 12% return, I would have easily made around $1.5 million. And the overall loan would have only cost me around $98,000. And the payments monthly would have been like $300, something like that. Not really a big deal. And when you add things up, right, now you're thinking about, hey, Tommy, well, it's not really a big deal per se, but now you're speaking about a mortgage which is $850. There's like $300. Now you're like at what, like $1350, something like that. The answer is not really 13. 1150, right? Yeah, 1150. Now I'm like at around 1150. The answer is, what I really want out of my life is to have like very little friction. Having no debt, having a paid off home enables me to make just a lot of good decisions when it comes to my investments. Now, I know myself and I know how I react when the market is down. So in 2020, I got to test out how I would act if the market were to fall, right? Because it actually did fall. And my pure instinct was, when the market falls, I want to invest a lot of money. Now, I know when I have a family per se, and I want to invest a lot of money, I want to make sure they know, hey, we don't have to touch this money because everything else is taken care of and there's nothing else to worry about, okay? In that sense. Although I'm not in control, things might happen, who knows, but I want to make sure that I have the least amount of friction in my life. Now, number 3 is, I invested a lot of money this year in services, in people, in friends and relationships, in travel, and just overall, just like living life a little bit more and just investing into culture also. Now, this sounds weird because if anybody knows me, 6 years ago, right? It took me about 6 years to get to this point right here. Well, a lot more than 6 years overall, right? But like 6 years where I can say like, hey, I concretely just sat down and said, I'm just gonna focus on this one goal and just get it done, okay? And my whole thing was, when it came to clothes, I would just go to Goodwill and buy dollar t-shirts. When it came to food, I would just basically get whatever I could. And when it came to traveling, I was like, no, no, no. And when it came to friends and hanging out, I'd be like, what can we do that's very cheap, okay? I had no interest at all in spending money on life. And what I learned is that life is all about like having balance. It's about like, you plant a tree, you eat some of the fruits, but you don't take the plant out of the root, you know what I mean? So it's like, enjoy the fruits of your labor, but just don't kill the tree, okay? Because then that's just stupid. So my idea is, like, what I've learned is actually a very good idea to find a balance in life, to be able to live life while you build something at the same time. Now, I don't want you to get this confused and say, Tommy, well, are you saying have a lot of fun while you're paying off debt and investments? No, the answer is no. I paid off the debt, which is going to be done in 2 weeks from now. I also paid off the home. I also have an emergency account fully funded, and I also have my investments, right? So I've gotten to a point where now I can do this. So it's like I was willing to make those sacrifices to get to this point. But even along the way, I would have said, the best decisions I could have made in my finances were make decisions that you can happily continue to do without having to keep worrying and having to contradict yourself all the time. Like having that debt, even though it was good debt, considering getting into a mortgage, even though it would have been a good financial decision, it just didn't sit right with me. And some things in finance are going to be like that. If something just doesn't sit right with you, and you know for a fact it makes you uncomfortable, I know for a fact that if I lost all my income, like all of it, I'll be fine. If I, for example, went through something horrible, I'll be fine. Like I have an emergency fund. But if I lost all my income and I would have to worry about like some debt or something like that, I wouldn't want to go through that, because Although I'll figure something out. Like I wouldn't want to put my family through that in a sense. Okay, so that's my main thing. So it's about making decisions that you can happily be happy with. My favorite thing about personal finance is that it's personal. So whatever advice I give you, it's not that you have to take it, right? But it's that you have to apply it to yourself and figure out what makes most sense for you. So although this channel is for the long-term team, and a lot of the people that basically watch my channel are people that agree with this type of mindset, this psychology, this way of life, and it makes a lot of sense for them, well, that's fine, but also apply it to yourself and make sure you can actually live this lifestyle, because that's the best part of it. Now, those are all the worst investments I made. Buying a home, terrible investment, because financially it's just ridiculous. Paying off debt, that's very low in interest, like ridiculous. And also like spending money on services and so on that I really won't get back, but actually enjoy. Ridiculous financially, but makes me very happy. And then third, fourth is, I'm on my numbers are weird today, guys. I'm sorry. But number 4 is the only good investment I made this year, like financially, is I put more money towards my retirement, and I basically just try to concentrate my investments for the optimal, like starting this year, I think I had like a mixture of ETFs and so on, like into different parts of the market. And by the end of the year, I just basically have just one investment, and that's basically just into the S&P 500. But I can do that because I'm very confident that America is going to do better like years from now than it's doing right now. And I can make the decision because, hey, I don't have a very leveraged lifestyle. So even if the market is down by 20% or 30%, I'm just going to invest more money into it and not really have to worry about taking money out. And that's why I like the type of lifestyle that I'm building. And overall, a lot of the decisions I'm basically making now today come from a biblical point of view, like where you say like, hey, maybe having a lot of debt is not a good idea. Maybe just not being diversified is not a good idea. So although I was very heavy on the market, I'm really just looking forward to getting to a certain number next year, which I'll talk about maybe in another video. If you want to watch another video like with my full details and plans for like 2023, let me know, comment down below, and I'll get to work on it. But once I'm basically at that number, or while I'm getting to that number, I'm also setting money aside to also invest into real estate, like cash producing assets. Tommy, are you gonna do that with debt? The answer is no. I'm actually just gonna basically just buy things, and just like, you know, even at a small level, or it takes a little longer, that's fine. But I just want to do it that way, and that's the way it makes sense for me, and that's why I love personal finances. It's personal to you. But guys, that is basically it. So as far as like having no debt, diversifying, making smart decisions you can basically live with, and like a lot of biblical point of views, like that's what's basically helping me like have this type of lifestyle that I enjoy the most. And overall, God is in control. He knows what's up, and that's basically it. Now, by the way, there's something I always used to be worried about when people used to talk about God, and it's basically people make a lot of dumb decisions and just say God is going to handle it. Like my decisions are very concretely like it makes sense financially, in the sense that, even for example, Peter Lynch says, before you start investing a lot of money, make sure you're grounded, in the sense that you're able to have your house in order, so when you have to operate, you're not operating just from an emotional point of view. So my decisions are grounded on sense, but it also comes from a fundamental principle that comes from the Bible, and that also makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, like and subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and comment down below. What should I comment down below? Comment down below $, so I know you made it all the way to the end of the video, and let me know exactly what were some decisions that you basically made in 2022 for your 2022 for your finances, and like good ones and bad ones. Like share them, that way we can all see what we can improve and so on. Comment down below, let me know. And as always, up here is another video. Over here is my face. Go subscribe. And as always, long-term team officially out.